Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Phillips, and myself and my incredible wife, the amazing pocket rocket Nicole Dennis, we are blessed to be in the health and wellness industry and very passionate about sharing our amazing life lessons and journey of health and not having health. And one of the things we do is we do these interviews with on various topics, but today's interview is with our very special guest speaker, Jost Sauer. And Jost is AKA the lifestyle medicine man. So yeah, I met Jost many years ago when he was actually the head of the student acupuncture clinic at the Australian College of Natural Medicine. And this man is quite a character, and he certainly changed my life. So before we get started, I'm just going to ask you please not to record the call, not to distribute it to mass media. We are actually Facebook Living the call to the Renew It Redox group, the Facebook group. If you'd like to be a part of that group, we'd love to have you. It is a private group, so you need to be invited by someone who is a friend in the group. So reach out to whoever introduced you to these calls and ask about that. And there's heaps of great information, particularly about the Redox technology in there. It's what it's mainly about, is about testimonials and things about how the Redox is helping people. But there's also all of Jost's interviews and a whole bunch of other cool health information. So if that's what rocks your boat, love to join the community. Please do. All right. So Jost, let me tell you a little bit about Jost. So Jost is born in 1958 in Germany. Jost has a bachelor and actually has got his doctor of Chinese medicine, and he lectured in traditional Chinese medicine for 10 years. He's founded and operated several health centers and worked internationally with celebrity clients in the US and all around the place. And health and fitness has always been a massive passion for Jost. His background includes competitive skiing at a national level, snow skiing, and bodybuilding, triathlons, Ironman training. When he discovered Kung Fu and Tai Chi, though, he realized that fitness is only a part of the equation, and the vitality is the other. And this led to decades more research into how to live and how to use nutritional supplements and an optimal diet, therapeutic exercise, weightlifting, martial arts, meditation, tai chi, yoga to help you make you feel good. And then Jost added the 24-hour movement of Qi, which is the Chinese medicine body clock. And that connects our day-to-day activities to the natural cycles of life and the natural movements of Qi. And he developed the Qi cycle lifestyle. And this is the ultimate in lifestyle medicine. And it's founded on thousands of years of traditional Chinese medicine and with over 30 years of Jost's academic research and practical observations from living it. So Jost is a pretty amazing and dynamic speaker and renowned for his entertaining conversations on lifestyle medicine. And yeah, super grateful to have you on the call again, Jost. Thank you very much. Welcome to the call today. Let's unmute you there. Oh, still muted. Sorry, buddy.
I have to unmute myself.
Yay! There we go. We're all pressing unmute. And, good morning. How are you today?
Yeah, a bit chilly, huh?
Yeah. I found yesterday chillier. I was in the garden for most of yesterday afternoon and loving it. So
16
good.
degrees.
Is it 16 degrees? Wow. Yeah, I suppose I do have a jumper on, which is unusual.
Global cooling.
yeah, coolly. So yeah, fantastic. Thanks for coming on again this week, Jost, and sharing your golden nuggets of wisdom. Many years of living it and experience. So walking the talk, not just theorizing. And today,
that's the whole idea of Chinese medicine. You got to live it.
You got to live it. I hear you.
This is the problem with Chinese medicine. You can't understand it in words. I mean, the dogma of Chinese medicine says the first rule is the Tao you call Tao is not the true Tao. Meaning the spoken word never speaks the truth. So theory can only really explain so little about life and the body. And whereas the rest is a mystery. And Chinese medicine, this is based on the fact that life essentially is a mystery. You see, the way I look at it, Western medicine, Western science knows an awful lot about very little.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, it knows an awful lot, but there's a lot of things around that's invisible. Like you can't see gravity. You can measure gravity, but you can't see it. And Chinese medicine is concerned about what we can't see, but still is real.
Yeah.
Because in there is like all the power. And when it comes to immunity, there's a lot of mystery. And when we look about what really goes on that Chinese medicine focuses on, if you look at this glass, if you put your glass on the table and the glass is not moving, you always got bigger things, you know, bigger glass, bigger microphone.
I got big glasses.
I got a little glass, you know.
Look, you totally make up for it, Jost. You got bigger muscles.
Little glass, big muscles. You see, when you put whatever the glass that's on the table or the cup that is on the table, it's not moving. Next day, it's still sitting in the same position. And that's the mystery. How come it's not moving? Because this planet travels at 75,000 kilometers per hour and it spins vertically 45,000 kilometers per hour. Still, things don't move. So Chinese medicine, long time ago, we're talking 4,000 years ago, understood it's not much point understanding the object, the cup. It's more important to understand what holds the cup in its place.
Yeah.
Yes.
We talked a lot about that in the first couple of calls, didn't we? About the unmovable forces of the universe.
Yes. If you go into that what holds everything in its place, you tap into you tap in what controls everything. Yeah. And that's the power. So when we talk about regulating health, Chinese medicine is not concerned about what we see. It's more concerned about what holds it together and what is responsible for that, what we see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore, Chinese medicine has a different view on pathology. It draws most its observation from that which is invisible. And it directs its healing to move from the invisible towards the visible. It works with mystical forces. It is a mystery. And it means, therefore, that we got unlimited options to address a symptom.
Mm. It might be a simplistic analogy, but I think it needs to be said. I think I was very blessed when I was quite young. My dad taught me that, you know, if I've got a problem to solve, if the problem's kind of like a tree, do I just want to chop off the branches, or do I want to get to the trunk, get to the root of the problem, right? And this is what I find where health in general is doing the opposite. They're trimming the leaves. They're taking a very superficial approach to a fundamental problem. And many practitioners in the Western world don't even understand the foundation for health and well-being. You know, so this is where I love, like, particularly your perspective and understanding of TCM goes very deep into the foundation of, like, what are these forces? What's impacting us? And yeah, for like 20 plus years, I've been looking at that as well. It's like, what is the foundation for it? So this is the juicy stuff.
If you focus on the foundation, miracles will happen.
Yeah.
Like when changes occur in clinic, when healing takes place, many times we don't even know why. It's just like suddenly things fall in place, shift, because the focus was on the foundation, on the fundamental, on that what holds the cup in its place, on the forces. And it's not our point to understand it anyway, because we will not comprehend it ever. As one of the tai chi masters taught me once, you can't debate quantum physics with your cat. And this is the same thing. We can't debate or trying to understand life. It's not possible. It's beyond our makeup. But we can live it and we can experience it. And once we can experience it, we know what works.
That must be so challenging for all the OCD people out there, the fact they'll never totally understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, you get lost. Yeah, that's why you go in circles. In Chinese medicine, we focus on transcending the mind, and we're going into experiencing it rather than trying to understand. So that obviously requires a very specific way of living. And when it comes to immunity, there is so much mystery around it. And because at now, like, okay, the reason why I thought this would be a good topic to address today is because immunity suddenly has become like the stressing topic of the times. And there's lots of debate that COVID will not go and there will be a next pandemic afterwards, and that COVID is basically a preparation for the next pandemic. So I'm not saying it will not happen or whatever. It's just like I observe it as a Chinese medical practitioner. What does it mean in terms of what is the mega trend in people? What do they focus on? And so instead of focusing on, okay, will be there another virus? We can say we have entered the age of immunity. We now have entered the awareness that we have to build our immune system. And because every second word in the media is immunity comprised people. If your immune system is comprised, you have a higher chance of getting COVID. Suddenly the word immunity is absolutely everywhere. Therefore, if you go into a health food shop and there's a bottle, it says immune enhancer, it will sell out immediately, apart from toilet, obviously. But if anything with immunity enhancing, you're in business.
Yeah. I remember the first few weeks of COVID, and, you know, like a lot of us didn't know like what it was going to be like. And I was scrambling to, you know, get Lipo C and just like get whatever herbs and stuff I could. And yeah, it was actually pretty hard to get supplies. And I had contacts, man. I was going to wholesalers, you know, like, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, vitamin C, for example, suddenly went off the shelf. You couldn't get vitamin C.
Yeah.
Before COVID, you could get vitamin C everywhere, and suddenly, as soon as it hit, you couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Yes, and so obviously everyone's talk about immunity now. Obviously, I believe there's a bigger picture to it, and it's all part of the awakening of an awareness of something is rising. We are moving up a ladder towards the next level of application in terms of what is actually life. And it's all based on the fact that we need somehow address what is immunity. And you can't address immunity by taking vitamin C all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where the misconception is taking place, because there's a lot of people I studied under who don't take vitamin C and their immune system is incredible high. Yeah. So it's, of course, vitamin C is essential, like a lot of other supplements are essential. But once again, if the force that holds the cups in its place, if that's not addressed, the supplement by itself will not work effectively.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah. There's obviously another factor going on here, and that's nutrient assimilation. And in order for the nutrient to work, we need to actually be connected to what holds it all together. Yeah. And that's where the lifestyle is coming into. And when it comes to the immunity in itself as a science and a medicine, Chinese medicine has now observed the impact of on the immune system, the environment. It has been studying it for 4,000 years. So it's been something that's been on the mind of the Chinese doctors forever, because they understand it's the environment that impacts on us. If we understand how to strengthen ourselves towards the environment, we will have unlimited health. And so, because another thing is that, according to Chinese medicine, we are breathing in thousands of bacteria and viruses every day.
Yep.
And we eat them every day, and they enter us via cuts and scratches. So we can't really escape it, regardless of how many meters we are away from everyone. There's always something around us that wants to enter. Yeah. And so we may have got a current control of the situation to a certain degree, but some other virus will sneak in.
there's always microbes. It's not like we're going to eliminate them, but it's more about us being able to balance against them. Yeah.
We are the part of the environment. Bacteria is part of the environment. I mean, the gut depends on bacteria.
Yeah.
And so your whole psychology depends on bacteria, according to the latest research, because most of the neurotransmitters are developed in the gut, and the brain's directly under the instructions of the gut. And the gut is regulated by bacteria. If you've got a healthy bacteria system, if you've got a full function bacterial system in the gut, you've got a psychological sound mind.
Yep.
You've got confidence, you can't get depression, and anxiety is controlled and things like that. So obviously we understand. And so we need a lot of those invasions. We need bacteria. We need all this sort of stuff in order to build us. Yeah. So it's not like a one size fits all solution by cutting all the viruses down and then everything's fine. Because Chinese medicine thinks holistically. It's yin and yang. For every negative bad virus, there's a good virus. For every negative bad bacteria, there's a good bacteria. They almost coexist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a great call. I was on a call with a coach the other day. She's an amazing woman, and she was talking about like a lot of people getting caught up in the moment in like the dark forces, and she's like, well, it's duality, right? Like, and as if we're physical beings, as long as we're physical beings, we're always going to have some duality. And if we perhaps think of it as duality as opposed to good and dark, a light and dark, it's a lot more empowering for us. And it's just like creating the balance within that. And we actually need that polarity stretch in order to evolve.
Yeah. I mean, if you wouldn't have duality, we wouldn't have day, we wouldn't have night, we wouldn't have women, we wouldn't have man. All would be merged into one thing, and it couldn't exist by itself. And it would be just there without any reason.
Yeah.
And
I think that would suck in many ways.
Yeah. It would be all, it couldn't manifest itself. Yeah. Yeah. So yin and yang was formulated in the beginning of time in Chinese medicine as a means to understand what manifests reality, because yin and yang is the sine wave, plus and minus. So it's a curve that goes up and down, plus and minus. Yeah. And on that, you got a vibration, and the vibration now becomes the frequency range, and that manifests, and that leads to physical form, according to Chinese medicine. Yeah. So that means we can't have, if we need good bacteria, there also will be bad bacteria. Yeah. It's like how it is. And if we know how to live, everything will fall in its place. If you know how to live, you keep everyone at bay. If the system, the law doesn't need police, doesn't need government, according to Chinese medicine, if everyone follows the laws of creation, everything is in its place and in accord with how it's supposed to be. So we are governed from within. Yeah. Yeah. And so when it comes to immunity, we need to understand that we are all the time exposed to all kinds of invasions. And what we identify as a virus these days, next year there will be different virus. And we are probably already surrounded by viruses we didn't have before. And so we don't even notice yet that we are actually invaded by things, till the media makes us aware that there's something in us. And then obviously the panic starts. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we always have been surrounded by stuff. So when it comes to building immunity, we need to first of all looking at that it's our bodily system that is responsible for actually having the ability to ward off those forces around us, but at the same time to incorporate the forces so that we can manifest. So it's interplay with the forces, engaging with the forces that holds us in place, but also the forces that wants to invade us, so we ward them off. So it's a bit like resisting and contracting and pushing away at the same time. So that's what holds the body in its place. And if this now becomes imbalanced due to disruptions, what happens is it now either engages too much and invades us, or we can't ward off. In that moment, imbalances take place. If imbalances take place, that's when you get an imbalance between the forces around us, and now negative viruses or bacteria will take hold of us, and the positive goes down. And when it comes to immune system in Chinese medicine, there are two problems: a weakened immune system and an overactive immune system, and the overreactive immune system.
Which is becoming more and more common, right? Like kids' allergies, sensitivities going through the roof. I did a health coaching course out of the US in 2012. And back then the statistics were autoimmune disease had gone up 400% in the last 10 years in the US.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's quite profound how it works. So there's two factors to address. So when we look at how to build immune system, we're going to look at, first of all, do we have a weakened immune system or do we have an overreactive immune system? Because both need a different approach to the situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So once again, it's no one size fits all. And the weakened immune system is obviously very common these days, the same as the overreactive immune system. And when it comes to the weakened immune system, obviously that qi deficiency is the key element for that. So we talk about qi deficiency. Yeah. So when it comes to qi deficiency, there's one a few things down here, so don't forget, because there's some really good herbs to work with. Because qi deficiency is probably the most important one at the moment, because that's caused by inadequate diet, by the hectic lifestyle, and by lack of sleeping and lack of exercise. So the weakened immune system, you could say that COVID is like a sign of the universe to tell us our immune system is weakened and that we need to start looking at eating the correct diet, that we need to change our lifestyle, that we need to get more sleep, and that we need to do exercise. Obviously, what happened in the lockdown? The exact opposite. The most inadequate diet possible.
Yeah, Dan Murphy's is busy.
Yeah, like binge watching TV, no exercise, sleeping in, and can't sleep during the day at night time, and obviously the whole system completely got whacked to pieces. Yeah, and so now obviously you could say as a result of that, I mean, quite a few acupuncturists say that the second wave is a result of the lockdown in the first place.
Yeah,
and I believe that too. Yeah, it's because the lockdown weakened people's immune system, and now it completely whacked it.
Well, it's interesting. Victoria had the most intense lockdown out of anywhere, and now they've
because obviously you can say that pretty much like the lockdown caused the exact opposite to that how we're supposed to live. It's a fact. Domestic violence went up the roof, depression went up the roof, anxiety went up the roof. All that is a result of a weakened immune system or overreactive immune system. So to blame the first lockdown as not being correct, and as a result of the second wave, from a Chinese medicine perspective, is not quite correct. It's the lifestyle that the lockdown caused, which is the cause of the problem. That's
Nicole was saying there, like in our area, we'd never seen so many active people. So many people riding bikes, walking on the beach. Like there were people everywhere all the time. But we're very lucky where we live.
Yeah, that's most likely why we don't have the second wave.
Yeah.
The same as where I live at this coastal town here, everyone out exercising. They didn't follow the ideas of staying at home. They just exercised. They were out there in the sun all the time, and that's why we probably got zero level COVID. Whereas in other places where the lockdown forced people to stay inside. And so that's one way of looking at it. Because the fact is that the lifestyle is the issue for when we get invaded, for it to become a problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's obviously why we need, first of all, looking at a weakened immune system is pretty much now a global phenomenon. And for that, we need to really focus on building our organ system. Yeah. And that's obviously where it comes to the spleen, liver, kidney, and everything. And in order to really bring up the system. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other one is the overreactive immune system. And that is, once again, due to an imbalanced lifestyle. But in this way, it's now a qi imbalance, and the overreactive immune system is due to far too much yang and not enough yin, and now having impact on the kidneys, and the kidneys weaken. And if the kidneys weaken, you're getting allergies and all kind of other stuff. Yeah. So where we obviously, asthma is an example of an overreactive immune system. Eating the wrong foods and having allergic reaction is a sign of an overreactive immune system. And everyone who owns a restaurant has noticed that over the last 5 years, food allergies have become a major problem for guests. Like 10 years ago, you went to the restaurant and you just followed what on the menu. No one had any issues. But these days, I can't have this. Can you have this without? I can't have this. I'm allergic to that. I can't have that. Gluten intolerance, all kind of stuff. And that's a result of the kidney yang, the power that's stored in the kidney, is not overactive. It's looking for the wrong things to be attacked, because that's what the immune system does. Is looking for invasions and then identifies it and then eradicates it and moves on. Everything's back to normal. So if you have an overactive or overreactive immune system, there's the kidney yang is over, and that's where the soldiers are. That's where your power is. Like in martial art, we draw the power from the kidneys, bang, and that's where the power comes from. We don't use the power externally from the muscles. We draw from the kidney. Kidney equals power. So now that power, if for some reason there's an imbalance in the system, the power is looking for ingredients in the system it can attack. It looks for proteins to attack. It looks for things to attack. It wants to fight. It wants to fight. And now, like inappropriate particles in the body and proteins will now be attacked. And that obviously leads to the fact. So how do you regulate that? Simply by working with qi cycle. That's why we have given already the rules by the masters, by the ancient masters, all these thousands of years ago. Like when we wake up, we get engaged with yang. We don't go for the yin. We need to first of all fire up the yang. If you fire up the yang and then by lunchtime and moving towards the yin, we now go into the yin mode, we start nurturing the kidney. Yeah. So if you wake up early and in order to build immunity in Chinese medicine, it requires the early rise. And it requires like up by 5 o'clock, 5:30 latest in order to get the qi from the ether that is still in the metal element, means it's from the lung and is direct connected to getting the pure forces coming in, and it will enhance you. So immunity enhancement has directly been affiliated with early rise. So if we get up and then get straight into the yang, that means we mobilize the body, we fire up the yang. Now it brings the yang throughout the day, and all the meridians have got the yang moving through. So everything is now under lubrication and under fire. And then at lunchtime, when it turns into the yin mode, we acknowledge that by taking it easy. By the afternoon, we let the yin be more dominating. That means what happened then is by kidney time, which is around 5:30, 6 o'clock, we are able to switch off, to go in a switch off mode. And then that means we actually now balancing the kidneys. And that means by the time it comes 9 o'clock, the system now can go into deep sleep. As the system can go into deep sleep, it will rejuvenate itself. Like nourishing sleep is affiliated with strong immunity. And lack of sleep is always affiliated with low immunity. So we need the deep sleep, but what we need is a nourishing sleep. Like laying down in bed 8 hours doesn't mean it's a nourishing sleep. The nourishing sleep can be 6 hours if it's deep and profound. Mm-hmm. And so that's where Chinese medicine has got a different view on the actual time of sleep. It looks at the quality of sleep, not the time of sleep. And the quality of sleep means when you go to bed, you go like, oh, and everything just sinks away and you get this delicious feel of drifting away. And then boom, you go, and then suddenly 6-7 hours, you wake up. And that means it has been a deep sleep, nourishing sleep. And now the idea is to get up and fire up the yang. So that rhythm of getting up and fire up the yang then obviously leads to a distribution of yin and yang. And the sine wave between yin and yang is even and smooth. That means what happens now, we got the energy that moves through us where we're warding it off, we're holding it at bay, but at the same time, we manifest ourselves strong in the position upright. So that means the energy yang moves freely up. That means your spine is straight and up. It brings all the chi up, but at the same time, we're like a pyramid, solid, grounded in the really solid and strong. But at the same time, we're receiving the energies from the universe to make us strong, to fill us up. But at the same time, we ward off all kind of invasions. That's the principle. Yeah, and so if you're fully aware of that, we can do that. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of factors now coming into our life that we never had before, and that actually disrupt all that very, really beautiful system that we're sitting on, that makes sure that the immune system is neither weak nor overreactive. And it's all regulated by that meridian that moves through the spine. And we call it the do channel. And that meridian at the spine, which is the most important meridian to consider, because what it does, it distributes the free chi, the good chi, all the way from the root right up to the top of the head, and then distributes to every vertebra. It distributes left and right, bilateral, and moves through every part of the body. And what feels like then, if you are aware of this, it feels like you have a certain aura around your body. And we call it Wei Qi, protective Qi. And if the spine is straight and you have the arms forward in the ordinary Qigong, you can feel suddenly how this Qi is expanding and it's moving around your skin. And it's the Wei Qi, it protects you from things going in. Yeah. So that's the key that we need to focus on. However, lifestyle has disrupted that, and now the body is exposed to practices it never has been before. Like in the old days, when we were hunters and gatherers, which are, that time is always referred to as the ultimate health development, because that's when the human body really evolved itself to the peak in terms of strength and power. And the hunter-gatherers followed exactly that principle. Get up early, fired up the yang all day, and then in the afternoon into the yin mode, and then around the fire, back off, and then go to the sleep mode. And then by 5 o'clock, back up again, yang, and then go into the yin mode by the after lunch. And then, so that has strengthened the body to the point where, as the health experts say, hunters and gatherers had a lot of issues and problems to deal with, but they didn't have lifestyle diseases. Yeah, and so what we're having now is a list of new pathologies that hunters and gatherers never dealt with. Yeah, and one of the classic one is a new pathology is now called email apnea. Email apnea. It's like sleep apnea, email apnea. Okay, so what is email apnea? Email apnea is exactly the same as sleep apnea. What is sleep apnea? Sleep apnea means you're in bed and you don't breathe, and suddenly and then back, and then breathe for a minute, for a second, and then don't breathe for 2 minutes, and yeah, and the system is all the time in shock, and then it goes back to no breathing. So there's no rhythm. So sleep apnea always leads to massive snoring and all kind of stuff, and all is affiliated with a lot of issues and pathologies such as depression, weakness, chronic fatigue syndrome, anxieties, and a lot of other problems, because the system is obviously not breathing effectively. And so instead of treating the symptom, if you treat sleep apnea by breathing deeply, you actually regulate most of the symptoms and they eradicate themselves. So email apnea is the similar breathing. So it's the result of people on the computer. And how do they write emails? When people watch emails and listen to emails, especially in the mornings, straight up, they go to the computer. That's what 80% of people or more, when they wake up, check emails. So when we check emails, what happens is most people, when they check it, first of all, the posture starts slouching, humping. It's suppressing on the spine. It puts the vertebrae down. It now goes into the hip flexors and shortens them. And then when we eat the emails, they don't breathe.
Yep.
People don't breathe when they watch the email. They're just like, and then, and don't breathe for 2 minutes. It's like sleep apnea. And then no one is on the computer like this.
Yeah.
It's like a disconnection to the environment, to the body, disconnect from the body and fully go into the mind and fully engage with the email, and nothing else matters. So now it's a separation between the content that's on the computer and the body. So what it means is the do channel or the spine is disconnected from the action when we're reading the email. So it takes the mind outside the spine, away from the spine, into the computer screen. That's where it is.
Phones, when people are doing messages and Facebook and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the same thing. Phone does the same thing. We call it the text neck strain. So by texting, it goes forward. And so what happens is when people work on the computer all day, we compress the spine. What means now we don't breathe effectively. And when it comes to building immunity, breathing deep is the key to build immunity. I mean, the person who rules and who guides everyone in that regard is, for example, is Wim Hof, one of the big names in the industry.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's taken the principle of the yogis and the tai chi masters and makes it available in Western terms, and has applied it and demonstrates over and over. So obviously every talk he does is all about immune building. So when the breath is short and shallow and uneven, yin and yang don't flow smoothly. Yeah. And in order to build immunity, the kidney needs to be connected to the breath. In Chinese medicine and in Ayurvedic philosophy, in the Indian philosophy, both agree it's in your kidneys where the power is. The power needs to then communicate with the lungs to be connected. So it's kidney, lung, they've got to work together. So you've got to go right in the kidney and then bring it up to the lungs. So when we do that, what we do, we bring power into the breath. If we bring power into the breath, we strengthen the immune system. Yeah. So that means now we're getting a strong immune system. That's why Tai Chi practitioners as well now, they just don't get sick. I haven't had a sick day in over 20 years. And everyone I study under and practice, they're observed exactly the same. But we are exposed to the harsh elements all the time. I do my Tai Chi in the rain, in the wet, in the cold, but I go deep into the kidney and breathe it forward up into the lung. So I'm connecting kidney and lung. Then when I finish, I go home and I take lots of Chinese herbs and supplements. Yeah. So I got this, the power is connected to the lungs. Now when I take like ASEA, which is, I'll talk about it in a while because that's like really important for immunity. So if it takes a substance, obviously then the substance already got the basis to work with. Otherwise the substance hasn't got a carrier. Yeah. So in Chinese medicine, the herbs are profound but the herbs need the carrier, and the carrier is the breath. So by us sinking the breath deep into the kidney, that means we go into deep diaphragmatic breathing, as I call it in the West. We're using our diaphragmatic breathing rather than shallow. If we connect it deeply, what happens now is we feel the power that's stored in the kidneys, which is what we call Jing in Chinese medicine, which is a substance. With the breath, it lifts up and gets connected in the lungs, and the lung then, it then connects with the breath that we're breathing in, and the Jing of the kidney, the power and the breath merge into one. Now it moves up into the digestive tract. So when we take a supplement, we've got a carrier, we've got a boat. Now the supplement sits on that boat, and now it can take it all throughout the system and moves everywhere. That's a principle of longevity. That's how we, establish anti-aging, and that's how we slow down the aging and all kind of stuff. Yeah, and so the principle, first of all, is to learn the breathing technique, to understand how to get deeply into it, and this leads to nose breathing, which I've mentioned over and over and over. And nose breathing is the key to strong immunity. So you can take vitamin C all day, you will get little, but if you do nose breathing and deep diaphragmatic breathing, you get the real impact, and then you ward off. Yeah. That's how yogis and tai chi masters can be in the mountains at 30 degrees minus and just a loincloth on and stand there. And I've witnessed that myself when I did my training camps in the East. It's just people like going to this high elevated mountains under cold conditions, and they hardly anything on, and they do the chi training, the breathing, and they don't experience the heat. Because the system, the power in the kidney, that's what Wim Hof does.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how it can go into the Arctic waters. Yeah.
Yeah, cuts holes in the ice, goes through an ice bath.
So the good thing about, once I said over and over here, the universe will not provide a problem without a solution. And the solution available is the breathing technique that is now on every channel on the internet. Yeah. There's a great book, it's called Breath. Check it out. Joe Rogan did a great podcast with him a couple of days, I think it was last week. It's a journalist, I forgot his name, but the book is called Breath. And what happens in that book is that he researched all the yogis who do the nose breathing, all the martial artists, and he put it all together in terms that the Western mind can understand. And Harvard University, Stanford University, all have now a dedicated breathing technique courses as part of their healing. And Harvard University got now a whole department, an entire department for Tai Chi.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Harvard University has got a whole department. They got a Tai Chi master from China. They got all these Chinese practitioners, and then they're constantly research them with Western terms. And what they find basically is the missing link in order to provide Western medicine with new solutions. Because if you don't go into the faucet that holds the cup in its place, you tend to go in circles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the solution to COVID might be something that is so not in the laboratory by vaccines and things like that. It is by something so obvious, which we all were given at birth, which is breath. Yeah. So COVID-19 forces us to look into what does it mean to breathe? Or as Wim Hof says, breathe, you motherfuckers. Yeah, he's obviously a bit of a character there. Every second word is swearing. He's a full-on character, and but this is because when someone has anxiety and fear, what happens? The breathing becomes shallow. You can tell someone who suffers from asthma because of the breathing is shallow. And there are top therapists now who talk about it. Jem Nestor, that's it. He talks about the therapist who now use nose breathing in order to take asthmatics off medication. Yeah. And they heal asthma. Yeah. So obviously, if you heal asthma, that means you're actually creating a balanced immune system. Yeah. That's how profound it is. So we need to look at what is the obvious sign of that, what is presented right now. We always have to look at the simple and obvious solution first. And when we have a weakened, compromised immune system, what does it mean? The breathing is impaired. It's all about, the word breath comes up all the time. Breathing, breathing. The universe is showing us all the time, what is your solution? Breathing, breathing, breathing. What comes up all the time? What's the problem? People have breathing problems. That means breathing is the issue. That's how the universe works. It gives us signs all the time. Yeah. And instead of just looking for the vaccination, we're going to look at what is really going on here. People can't breathe. Okay, let's learn how to breathe. Let's introduce breathing techniques at year 1 in all schools in Australia, all over the world. Number 1 first. Yeah.
What a concept. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Let's start with that. What is all given to us, which we don't know how to do. Yeah. And breathing needs to be learned. It's a fact. Yeah. The baby knows how to breathe. Beautiful, deep diaphragmatic. If you see a baby lying on its back, the belly goes right up and then down, and then right up, and big, big belly. That's a big belly. When you look at the Buddha, big belly. You never see a skinny Buddha.
Yeah, that's right. I put the beginner's tutorial from Wim Hof. It's like actually a free YouTube. It's only like 10 minutes. And I include that in every health coaching session I do.
Yeah, it's essential. Yeah.
Yeah, so key. And he's just a character. He makes you laugh anyway. Like.
Yeah. That's classic with all these people, like the tai-chi masters, the yogis. They're just all eccentric characters. They just crack up laughing.
Yeah.
You know, how do you? That's what the people always. That's what I learned in my time. How do you identify a master? Offend them, and if they crack up laughing, you know you've got a person to follow.
That's a really interesting observation.
Yeah. Say something nasty. If they crack up laughing, that's a good person. Yeah. Because that's what. Because the masters just do not care what happens around. They have regulated everything from within. They are not dependent what other people think about them.
Yeah.
They got the freedom. Yeah. And the freedom starts with the breath. So the next thing is, in order to open up to this deep breathing, we obviously need cellular communication. And that's where ASEA is coming into play. This is why Redox, why the Redox signaling is so important. Because Redox signaling is identified in Western science as that what makes the cells communicate, then expand. So breathing means information expansion. But in order to have the basis for the breath to be moved, you need cellular communication. And cellular communication is required. And Redox signaling, if the Redox is direct connected to this information exchange. And if you open up to the information exchange, that means you've got a carrier for the breath. So people with breathing problems or difficult breathing, they feel like, I can't sink deep in, there's something lacking, I don't have the support of the body. And obviously that's where Redox is coming into play, because Redox now will go into the cells, open up the communication, provide the fluid to the intracellular fluid. That means it's getting in, and now it can expand, and now it can start moving. Yeah. So obviously that's why I tell everyone who's got difficulty breathing and says, I'm a shallow breather and I can't get into this breathing, I say, get into the Redox.
Yeah. We do a Redox talk every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Brisbane time at redoxtalks.com to learn about that. And this week's, it was on the team call, which is at 8, which is more for people learning about the distribution of it. But the lady on that, Sue, had a phenomenal story. She was like 3 mil diameter in a windpipe. complications and scarring and all sorts of stuff. And she was literally like, she felt like she was on her last legs, like last weeks. And the medical system had given up on her. They actually weren't going to fund any more operations or anything like that. And thankfully someone said, hey, try some Redox. And now she's 10 by 15 mil in a windpipe again. And she's walking, doing housework, all sorts of stuff. But she literally couldn't breathe. It was like breathing through a pop of straw, you know, and she said her whole brain, like she would just stare at a wall because her brain was starting to fade out. She just had such low oxygen. But yeah, it's just an extraordinary recovery, and an amazing story about not being able to breathe and then being able to breathe and deliver directly through the use of Redox in that particular case. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's why with my sensitivity to those techniques, in particular breathing techniques, herbs can find it a bit difficult to get into, but the Redox goes instantly in. The Redox can do stuff that herbs can't do. And when it comes to breathing issues, difficulties and deep breathing, the Redox is essential. It's once again a solution provided by the universe when the problem hits. Yeah.
She also had a thyroid issue for 20 years, unmedicated, and tried everything naturally and tried everything from the Western medicine. And I think like 6 months on the Redox, and she's totally off all natural medicine and medication for a thyroid. Like phenomenal result. Just crazy good.
I see this so often. So that's obviously the next thing is we need to understand what herbs to work with, because once again, the Chinese medicine puts its prime focus on herbs as a means to build immunity. And so the herbs that we work with are called the adaptogenic herbs. So that means they adapt to the individual situation, because everyone's immune system is different. The one size does not fit all. And with herbs, with the proper herbs, I don't work much with vitamin C, but I work with herbs. Yeah. So I believe in, I observe that it's more that the body regulates the production of the vitamin C. Yeah. For example, insects produce the vitamin C. And so the body can actually do a lot of that. And the herbs, the adaptogenic herbs in particular, actually now regulate what the body needs, because that's the thing, we don't really know what the body needs. Yeah. And there's a lot of mystery in the body. And the adaptogenic herbs, they are also referred to as messenger entheogens. They actually understand. And the most powerful, the most important immune adaptogenic herbs is astragalus. And astragalus is something I tell everyone, just like it should be. I have it in my diet every day, so I have astragalus all the time. Yeah. And so I've been doing it for 30 years, and I can really see it works. There's no doubt about it. And so with astragalus, it is the research, clinical research, especially with Harvard University and with Stanford University, it completely restored the function of immune cells in cancer patients.
Oh, really? Didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. It just completely restored the function of the immune cells. So that's absolutely profound what astragalus does. And obviously astragalus has been used for a long time in Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. And the next herb that's equal power to astragalus is ginseng. And once again, it restores cells to the immune function. So it has got an ability to adapt. So ginseng, if it's taken in combination with the formula, not by itself, if it's taken with it, Chinese medicine always takes it in formulas, that means it will actually weaken, it will strengthen immune system in those who have a weak immune system, and it will calm the immune system in those who have an overreactive immune system. Yeah. There's one formula.
Specific ginseng,
yeah, I mean, we use the Ren-Shen, which is sort of like referred to the Panax. I personally have it every day, just a little bit. Yeah. So there's lots of different ways how to take it. So I can only share with others what I do because there's too many mysteries in this regard. And as I said to everyone over and over is when you follow the advice of someone about what supplements to take, always look at the person who gives the advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just like, do they take it themselves? Are they healthy? Are they fit? Are they strong? Yes. Then you got like, there's a lot of people out there who just go by theory and don't experiment with it, and then look not particularly healthy. So I wouldn't follow that advice. Yeah, because it's because a lot of things we just don't know. Yes, we don't know yet, and so that's where the self-experimentation comes into. I've been self-experimenting with everything for over 35 years now.
Yeah, you're always good to experiment.
Yeah, so yeah, that's why I don't follow the theory. I look at the data. I said, oh yeah, okay, let's check this out.
Yeah.
And if I get side effects, oh my, okay, yeah, I went too far here.
Then you started to talk about a herbal formula.
Oh yeah, rhodiola, yes, definitely. Rhodiola, I see that here on the chat line. Rhodiola, yes, definitely. It's an immune adapting herb. Absolutely, yes. It's very good. We got the rhodiola, yes, definitely. Take it. The next one is licorice root. Licorice root. Yeah, that's another really, really good. In all the Chinese herbal formulas, there always is licorice roots, wufang, and all kinds of names they have for it. In particular, if they work ginger with it in order to bring it up. I treat a lot of people with asthmatic conditions who are on ventilators, and I give them 4 major herb company, the major 4 or the 6 major, and bamboo, and within 3 months they don't take any ventilators. But I never tell anyone to take the ventilators off. They always realize themselves they don't need it anymore. Yeah. And because obviously the overreactive immune system suddenly gets calmed, and the phlegm production, which is because usually you have like an overreactive and a weakened immune system happening at the same time with many people. So you got like overreactive, and then you got the weakened system. So it's very difficult what to target first. Yeah. And that's where Chinese medicine is coming into play, because the formulas usually have 8 ingredients, and that means you target both the weakened and the overreactive, the yang axis and the yin axis. So you work on both. And, in particular, if you take like formulas like 4 major and bamboo combined, you target the overreactive immune system, and you target the weakened immune system all at the same time. It works really well. There's another few ones. It's called holy basil.
Yeah, holy basil, man.
That's like a good one. Shisandra. Yeah, Shisandra is a really good one. Then maca powder.
Yeah, I had some this morning in a hot chocolate. Love it.
Yeah, maca is got to be careful how much to take. Yes, so it's you've got to work. Once again, it's individual. I sometimes don't take it for a month, and sometimes I take it every day. So that's something you have to work out yourself. You know what works best here. A lot of people combine it with cacao, that can really cause heat patterns.
Yeah.
And so I personally don't take cacao. I use coca, COCOA, not the CACAO. So I use the one that is boiled. I don't use the raw.
Okay.
So I found it, for me, it works better. I found it's too much heat. And because there's a reason why the ancients have, in the ancient times, they cooked it. And now in the isolated form, they make it raw. But in the tradition, it never was meant to be raw. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I take the organic coca. Yeah. Then obviously ashwagandha is like the ultimate adaptogenic herb. And then cordyceps, the mushroom. So that means if you, and then the last one I want to share is Brahmi. Brahmi, Brahmi. So they are really, really powerful herbs.
Yeah, that's more Ayurvedic, right, Brahmi?
Yeah, that's Ayurvedic.
Great for the brain.
Yeah, that's like it. So, if apart from the maca, I personally take all the other ones. I'm personally take them myself all the time. Shisandra are sort of irregular, but astragalus, ginseng, licorice root, ashwagandha, and cordyceps, like and Brahmi, you can take I personally take every day. Yeah, a little bit. Like I take the formula, so it's all combined. Yes, that's obviously that's why I always love that formula, the well-being formula, because well-being has got astragalus, rehmannia, ashwagandha, and ginseng all combined. So it's like the perfect formula, which is why the name well-being makes so much sense, because it actually causes well-being. Yeah. It's my favorite formula. I mean, there's ASEA with Redox, and there's well-being. They're my favorite formulas, because you basically got everything. And then you got the four major, and then you got pretty much everything sorted. So I take herbs every day, but I don't take much. Yeah, so instead of having like 60, 70, 80 different supplements, what a lot of biohackers take these days, in Chinese medicine, we focus more on taking herbs, formulas, and we were specific. Yeah.
Yep.
And then as a result of that is we got the perfect basis now to engage with breathing techniques to take the body onto a level we have never seen before. Chinese medicine stated from the beginning that the human body is designed for supernatural powers. The yogis have been saying that since the beginning of time, that the body is designed for supernatural powers. And everyone, those who have observed the yogis have noticed that supernatural power. Wim Hof demonstrates supernatural powers.
Yeah.
And so like the tai-chi master.
They proved it in the universities.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable, the guy, what he does. But the tai-chi masters go beyond that. And many yogis go beyond that. It's just, you never hear about the tai-chi masters and the yogis because they're not on internet. They're not on Facebook. They're not on Instagram. There's one great Taoist master on Instagram. He's incredible. He's 85 years of age, and the guy is just so powerful, so strong. He just like, the moves are incredible. Yang Feng TCM. The guy looks like so happy.
TCM.
Yeah. And he only got 400 followers.
Wow. Yeah, because no one knows about him.
Yeah, because, and then you got the other influencers who got like 10 million followers, and there's nothing happening. Yeah. It is like that's the thing with a lot. There's Wim Hof made it public, and which is why I like that book Breath, because he talks about it over and over. He said the people he met, the real masters, you never hear about them. You just don't hear about them. They just sit somewhere in some sort of cave or monastery or whatever, and they got powers that we can't comprehend. And because they're not on Instagram, we don't hear about it. Yeah.
Well, not yeah. Our whole world does not revolve around social media. Fancy that. We did live for a long time without it.
Yeah, and I mean, of all my personal experiences, having studied under Tai Chi masters for almost 40 years now, 35 years I've been on this path, and I spent a lot of time in the East. It's incomprehensible, the power. These guys in the 70s and 80s, it's incomprehensible. But what is striking is the joy, this incredible joy that comes from those people. That is what strikes everyone. The joy. They're like a child. It's childlike. You look at their face. That's when you look at that Feng Yang TCM guy. He's 85. You look at a young child. His face is just like, it radiates with joy. And the skin is just radiating. What does he do? Breathing techniques, tai chi, and lots of Chinese herbs. Yeah.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. I put your website in the chat box. So if anyone wants to, and also the list of the herbs that that Jost has been talking about today. I love always taking the notes as we do these calls. I really appreciate it. But that 6 major bamboo and well-being formula, um, they're all direct off your website. Do you have a link for Redox on your website yet for those that you invited? Yeah. Okay. So, and for
Yeah,
if you've been invited on a call by Jost, you can
yeah.
get the Redox off his website. Otherwise, go back to the person that invited you to today's call and get your link for getting on the good stuff and boosting your immune system.
Yeah.
Oh, can you put the 85-year-old link in here? Is that
the find it if I can find it? Yeah.
Tang Fang TCM?
Yeah, I think that's what the name is. Yeah. There's a lot of that. There's quite a few of them, but you just don't hear about them. Yeah. That's the thing. You just don't hear about these people. But it's slowly coming forward, which is a great thing. Yeah.
There we go. I'll put his Tang Fang TCM in the Instagram Taoist Master. Awesome. Awesome. Well, look, hey, it's been another amazing conversation, Jost. Thank you so much for delivering your gold to us. But for those of you that are joining us every week, I see Kylie, I see a bunch of you there, and Dee was here, and we got you got your fan club there, Jost. So it's good to see the regulars. You'll be hearing a lot of these similar themes that are like coming up every week. And it's about this lifestyle, and it's about supporting yourself with these key products, these key herbals, the key redox, and so forth, key practices like the breathing and the qigong and the tai chi, stuff like that. So it's just about implementing them into our lives. I know, Nicole, my wife, she caught up with Jost a few months ago and started to re-implement some of your teachings, and it's just made an enormous difference in her constitution, her jing, her core strength. So it's just absolutely amazing. Really encourage everyone on the call to utilize Jost's resources. Jump on, get his free resources, downloads, and get that book, Clock on the Health, and just start following the way, because it's the way it was meant to be, right? Just follow the way, the Tao.
That's it. That's it. That's how it is. It's all part of the yin and yang. It's a part of yin and yang.
Yeah.
So it's like that's how we climb up the ladder of yin and yang. So the situation at the moment, the universe is just showing us what it's about. Breathing.
Yeah.
Breathing. That's what it means. It's all the universe, the Tao, whatever God is telling us. God can speak us directly. We would think it's a lunatic. You can't just go to the shopping center. God told me. It doesn't quite work that way. Or the second coming of Christ, it doesn't work that way. So therefore, the universe knows it needs to do it in a very hidden way. Whatever the spiritual resource is that created us needs to speak in riddles. Otherwise, we would reject it. If Jesus would come down right now, we wouldn't accept it.
It would be
fake news.
Yeah, it's very confrontational for a lot of people's belief systems.
That's how because we immediately resist advice. So therefore, so the universe is providing us with information in a riddle, in a puzzle. Yeah. And so what is presented to us, we got to look at the obvious, and the obvious is breathing.
So key. Key. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Jost. Nikki just put a little note in there. There is a special on the Redox until the 31st of July. We've never seen a special like this. It's definitely the best opportunity for to get the best price on that product. It's normally pretty heavily regulated, that price. So if you do want to try this Redox, make sure you get back to the person that invited you to the call quick smart. There's only like another 8 days left before that special finishes. And look forward to seeing you all on another amazing call with Jost next week. Thank you so much for your gold, Jost. You're incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for your comments and everyone being on Facebook. Love your work. Have a great week.